Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the stream. Jayzon Hots here. And we are jumping in live while this match is currently underway in Toronto. Today I'll be co-streaming the Toronto Regional Championships. And as we can see, we got Swift round 12. So we're looking at day 2 here. I was able to watch a little bit of day 1 yesterday, but today we're actually hopping in for a good majority of the morning to see if we can take a peek at what's going on in Toronto live and cast for you guys the games that are going on. It's a little bit early for me in Toronto time. They started, we're 3 hours behind here in Oregon, but they are underway with round 12. We see Sarah Jones versus Justin Newdorf. A couple of U.S. players up there in Canada playing in Toronto today. One of our classic meta matchups right now, Dragapult versus Gardevoir. Usually this matchup will favor the Gardevoir, but a lot of it has to do with that card right there, Lily's Clefairy. Definitely what he's looking for here so that he can give the weakness over to Dragon-type Pokemon so that this can get a knockout. 4-4 prizes currently, so this would put him in a position where another knockout on a 2-prizer could win. It's a little risky though. Because then on the other side, if Saris can get another energy and a gust to bring out the Clefairy, can get a knockout on that. But you do see the Bravery Charm come down to give it an extra 50 health, so it'll be sitting at a cool 240. Unless that is on the Munkidori, I actually can't really tell offhand, but he'll heal up a little bit with the Gardevoir. Put a little damage on the one with the Luminous Energy, that makes sense. And then he's just kind of thinning a little bit with putting out the Luxurious Cape. That's not going to have any effect on the Gardevoir, but something to get out of his hand at that point. And he will take the 2-prize knockout at Miracle Force. Normally doing 190, but because of the Clefairy and the weakness, doing 380. Now, I'll be honest. I was hoping that I would be in Toronto right now playing in this event, but alas, here I am at home because my flight unfortunately got canceled. Well, delayed past the point of being able to make it there, so we had to cancel, but you get what I mean. But now Sarah's going to be looking for the opportunity to come back here. I don't personally... Yeah, so it looks to me like that Bravery Charm is actually on that Munkidori. And that seems to be what's indicated on the field as well. You can see that middle Munkidori on the right is sitting at 160 on the board. Put down the Blood Moon, which could potentially get a knockout with just a 1 energy. Saris is going to take a lot of time thinking about it. This is one of the tough things about Pokemon is the time management. 50-minute rounds means you really got to... Yeah, so we'll counter catcher for that Lily's Clefairy, aiming after that weakness. So if Justin doesn't have a way to get back that Lily's Clefairy, it could be helpful. And the Iono is definitely going to stagger that opportunity. I'm going to put him down to 2 prizes here with not a whole lot of draw options. You don't have Mew out currently. Iono's going to get 4 cards back for Saris. Still looking for that other energy. for Dragapult. Gets the beautiful golden Buddy Poppin'. Beautiful cards over on the side of Saris's field, by the way. But yeah, that Night Stretcher will be able to get back the energy. So they can do yet another one of their Phantom Dives. And the counter Jamming Tower, too. That's pretty good. We'll be able to stifle the rest of that draw. The Mystery Garden was the only real draw power on the field right now for Justin. So being able to take that down. Knocks out the Clefairy, going down to 2 prizes. And the question is there a counter knockout? Oh, yeah, easy. Top decks the Night Stretcher to get back to Lily's Clefairy, and that is what we call the G's here in Pokemon. And Justin gets a long-fought game 1, but back to the time management. Yeah, 50-minute rounds for a best of 3. So in theory, you got to do about 16 minutes per round if you're looking to finish 3 full games, or 16 minutes per game. And that first one was over 20. We already got a Magby escaping in the chat. Whoops. While they get set up for game number 2 here, I'm going to set up a little bit more with my set. And by that I mean I'm going to go get my phone that I left in the other room. But yeah, Gardevoir does typically have the advantage in this match because of that Clefairy. So you can see in the back half of that game, which is all we caught, we did get to see that happening. So looking at what they open with here, Badoo versus Mew. It's still going out to the Ultra Ball because you know that when you're going first and you see Badoo on the other side, we are going to see Itchy Pollen. So you're about to get Itchy Pollen. That much we know. Looking at the prizes, double Earthen Vessel is not friendly, and the Mystery Garden and Artisan, so double Stadium. The energies you kind of expect, you know, it's your most common card, so you expect 1 or 2 to pop up in the prizes. You're prepared to deal with that, but the means to discard are a pretty big deal with Gardevoir. That's the whole point of their engine. Now we can see already down to 24 minutes in the round, so that doesn't favor Saris at this point getting to and through a game 3. So Ultra Balls for, of course, the Frillish, which will give them a little bit of potential item lock themselves. Seems to be some sort of judge discussion going on here. I'm not sure what that's about. I don't know what they could have messed up in an Ultra Ball for a Frillish. So, I mean, you're not under item lock if you're going first, because you can't have been hit with Itchy Pollen. There are new time rules that are coming into Pokemon, but I don't really expect that is the issue. Could be, though, I suppose. Who knows? Could have been that he was taking a little bit too much time. I didn't see anything egregious there. Like one of our head judges might have something else to say about it, though. Good news is this will pause the clock for them, so it's not going to take any additional time. And of course, you're allowed to take a decent amount of actual game time for your first deck search, so you can count your prizes. The new time rules that are coming in are going to allow up to 2 minutes for that. Even then, I think 1 minute to like 1 minute 30 seconds is still allowable under the current rules. Very interested to know what exactly it is. I do see, though, that my my profile picture deserves getting in the way. Match pause for judge review is what that says. So I'll get back in there and explain to the players what they have going on. This is most likely the head judge. So when you have a judge call or any kind of issue, you can always make an appeal to the head judge. So that might be what we're seeing here is him arguing his case to the head judge. Which is every player's right. Anytime you have anything that a judge decides that you don't like, you can always appeal to the head judge. Panda Player Games, hello! Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the follow. What are these pandas and what are they playing? That is my question. That is my only question. So it looks like we're heading back into the game. Still 24 minutes on the clock. Still probably not enough time for games 2 and 3 to coalesce here for Saris, but hello, my friend. You are the panda and mostly Pokemon. Okay, good to know. Quick buddy poffin for a couple of those Dreepies and Dawn, which is such a good addition to this deck. Able to get you your mid-level Dreepies, or mid-level Dracloaks. The multitude of basics that you run in this deck, and of course your Dragapults. So any two-stage deck really should be running Dawn right now. But it's come in particularly handy for Dusknoir and Charizard lately. Yeah, and starting Badoo is about as good as you can get for this deck. It means you don't have to force yourself to pull out the Latias early for that easy 2-prizer. You can keep it waiting in the wings, as it were. Still get the energy attachment, so you don't have to energy attach to retreat that turn if you can't get to the Latias. And there's the Itchy Pollen. The itchiest of pollens. No item cards this turn for Justin. Gonna put down a nice early Lily's Clefairy. A little bit of a fragile target on the bench. Ideally, you don't want to use Lily's Clefairy and put it down this early. You want to keep it in your hand for when you go to attack the first time. But yeah, kind of a rough start for Justin. He didn't want to discard it with the research, which makes sense. And so he goes ahead and puts it down and gets seemingly nothing out of his 7 there. Meanwhile, great start for Saris. Double Dracloak already. And a Hilda. So could grab a third or could... Yeah, we'll grab the third for the consistency here. Probably wants to keep the item lock going, but I can grab the energy. It does. It lets you play slow in the early game, which really helps. All right, so now seeing Saris's prizes. The Hawlucha and the Fez one-offs in the prizes are kind of rough. You get that Fez pretty early here, though. But right now, it's looking like Saris is going to take the first prize or two, based on what we're seeing in hand. We see the Dragapult's already there. Saris just being mean right now, really, with the item cards. Look at all these items I can play while you are under constant item lock and key. That's just not a nice way to treat somebody, you know? We'll Itchy Pollen again. Dragapult's all about slowing the game down. It's the closest thing we have to a meta control deck right now. I see the Arven for the TM Evo and the currently useless Earthen Vessel, maybe on a future turn, but not today. But should be able to, if they can get a hold of an energy, should be able to utilize that Evo, at least get their Gardevoir out on the field. But nope, no energy in hand, so just a handful of item cards. The problem is the slow game right now doesn't necessarily feel advantageous to Saris, because there's only, again, 20 minutes left in this round, and here we are in game 2, no prizes taken so far. Avo Chavez, hello. Grillish giving the side-eye to Banu right now. Yeah. Well, not so much right now, because up comes the Dragapult, now fully ready to go. And the Gust to bring out the only Gardevoir line on the field. So yeah, that's going to be a big knockout. And that's the thing, is Dragapult just lies in wait until everything's nice and set up. And you gotta be very careful about when you choose to make that, to break that item lock. And I think that was very skillfully done there by Saris. You knew you only had the one Gardevoir line on the field, so that's definitely the go time. The Pokemon Go to the polls time. Anyone remember that in 2016? I don't think I've ever rolled my eyes harder than that moment. Well, everyone should be overly wary of the Fairy EX, but when there's no energy on the field and there's little to no options for energy acceleration, then there's not a whole lot to do. The Wonder Patch, I think is the name of the card. The item that lets you grab a psychic energy and attach to one of your bench, like that could be enough energy acceleration to get Clefairy built up here, but that's the only other way I can think of to threaten the Dragapult right now. Gonna even put the Legendary Cape on the Ralts just to try to make it a little bit tougher to knock out, but I mean, it still puts it at 170, so it's still in danger of getting hit by Dragapult, and now it's worth 2 prizes. So I don't know. So Avo, if you haven't played the Pokemon community game yet, oh, I missed the Gibble. Darn. So you gotta do exclamation point Poke Start to start your Pokemon journey. I'll give you some basic stuff. Just found out the other day that multiple trying a patch does what patches do. Yeah, that's true. There are a couple decks that I've been looking at with that Wonder Patch coming in, but looks like that was a concession, which definitely warranted there. Saris will take game 2. And a quick game 2. I'm kind of surprised. I think time management wise in this matchup, no, actually, you know, I'm wrong, because this matchup does ultimately favor Gardevoir. So I think if I'm fairly convinced that I can't find myself, if I can't find myself that win early in game 2, I'm going to scoop to try to preserve time for game 3, because overall the matchup favors me. So yeah, I like that scoop from Justin. Once he was convinced he was not getting out Gardevoir, that game just wasn't going to happen. Yeah, for time, for sure. Yeah, 16 minutes left, which is about what you need for an average game of Pokemon, in my experience. That's kind of the goal. If you split that 50 minutes into 3, you get, you know, 16 minutes and change. So they've got time for it. The question is, will they make it there? Another Badoo start, which is awesome for Saris. Gonna Ultra Ball probably for the Dreepy. Probably take a hot minute. Oh no, it goes for the Duracloak. Okay, must mean there's a Poffin, something in the hand. But gonna take a hot minute to do a little deck checking. Looking at the prizes, nothing crazy in there. One of your Badoos, one of your Fire Energies. Counter Catchers may be a little disappointing. They won't get it until they have 1 prize left. So that's a useless Counter Catcher, but it does get a couple of Dreepies down before the pass. That's good. So Justin can enjoy 1 turn of items here as he goes second. Gets to choose after losing game 2, so would have taken that. Eyeing up Ultra Ball to start. Gets rid of the Lilies. Kind of a bummer. But right away, pulling that Ralts to the front. Which is what you'd expect here. You know, kind of want to get a Ralts down. You'd love to Frillish here, but you don't really have the means to get Fez out of there and get a Frillish with an energy down to establish your own item lock early here. Instead, is just gonna... Okay, Artisan into the other Lilies. That would be why the... Yeah, Frillish prized is no fun, but it looked like he had 2. Yeah, I think I saw a Frillish in the deck. A lot of times, if you just... Or a lot of times, if you're just running the Frillish... I think they'll run 1. Gets to the nest ball, though, so can get another basic out here. Still has the artisan to play. I guess we'll see, because I'd expect him to probably get another Ralts and a Frillish down here with the artisan. Or the monkey. The monkey would be the other option. Or do you just go triple Ralts? You just a little gun shy from the last game where your Ralts were just getting sniped all over the place. It's like, hey, you know what? So there's the artisan. And yeah, it does. Just go straight to triple Ralts. Just build it up, man. When I was playing the Mega Guardy, I would do this sometimes. I would go really heavy on the Ralts. And yeah, it does have rare candy, but of course can't play that this turn. But can use the Evo to get at least 2 of those out. Assuming he runs 3 Curlia, because he does have 1 Curlia in the prize already. That's an interesting tool they've added, is the being able to point out the stuff in the discard by different types. So already a few of the supporters in there. It's kind of a bummer. And didn't have any Curlia left in the deck, apparently. Just a pass. Yikes. And again, that rare candy is no good here, sir. You're not really going to be able to utilize that. Meanwhile, again, such a good card for this deck. The Dawn comes down for Saris. The Choose already has a Dusclops and only 1 Duskull, so I would think you're going with the boss here. And right back to that Ichipollen. No items for you. Oh, okay, so the other one was in the hand. So there are 2 Curlias. It's just that's a bad break. Off the 8 cards from Lily's Determination. You had your 1 Curlia in the prizes and you drew the other Curlia, so it messes up your Evo play. That's just bad luck. Wow, we're already going to pass. Just the Evolve, attach, and pass. Yikes. We're looking good for Saris, but already has the Dragapult in hand. Looking for the energy though. Oh, energy or Lilies. But now you can boss. You know, you can boss for that Curlia. So I think this has to be the energy, and then the boss goes to the bottom. That's a little sus. She added that to her hand. If I was Justin, I would probably be calling Judge on that in this situation. That looks to me like sleight of hand BS. On the other side of the table. She can't add that to her hand like that and then change it. But I think Justin's letting it go. But also, I think, yeah, that was an odd decision. Is that actually, is that Neo Upper? Okay, never mind. Neo Upper's already on the Dusk. That would be why they didn't choose the energy. And then definitely going to go the Jamming Tower there, because you've already got the supporters in hand. You don't need the Lilies. Sacking one of the Ionos, which is a really important card in this deck. That gets your Dusclops to the next stage. And the Turo. A lot of resources early, and then still just the Ichipollen. So interesting. Not electing to boss to get the Curlia. I mean, it would have opened up the rare candy play, but yeah, that I know you generally want to play this slow, but how slow, I guess. Never punish. She got another boss for next turn. Yeah. For sure. So it sounds like there's something going on again with the judges. Little play stoppage here as the Lilies comes out. I didn't see anything there. I think maybe just a little bit of confirmation going on here. But yeah, already down to 9 minutes. No prizes taken so far. So I don't know. We're going to see if they have enough time. Yes. Dragapult is really the only deck that doesn't lose anything significant in the rotation. You know, Charizard is gone completely. Goldengo's gone completely. Gardevoir's gone completely. So, like, 3 of those top 4 decks are gone in the rotation. And so then all the stuff you have left is, you know, current, like, A, B tier decks at best, where, I mean, you would think Dragapult shoots up to the top of that list. Lily's Clefairy sticks around, so there could be still some psychic resistance that's not Gardevoir. And by resistance, I mean stuff that's good against it. Stuff to resist against the Dragapult, not resistance as in takes 30 less damage. But he's going to come up with the beefed up... Oh my gosh, Ralts, just for the draw. This is a rough one here. You need to get some energy in the discard, but yeah, you don't have anything for it right now. See, if you had the Kirlia, you could at least do the 30 damage to knock out the Badoo. But yeah, this is looking really good for Saris. You can evolve into double Dusknoir this turn. You could theoretically pop both of the Ralts, and if you could get the Gardevoir out, start working on it. I mean, you can only do the 200 still, so you can't really knock out the Guardy once it's out there. The best play for Dragapult is to stop it before it becomes Gardevoir, but is going to go ahead and pop it. Oh, puts it on the Fez. Interesting. So we'll force 1 prize for Justin. He gets the Arven out of it. That allows the counter catcher play for the Guardy, and then the Iono to try to disrupt. Now down to 5. It's a cool play. I'll take that. Well, yeah, I mean, you don't really want to put Lily's Clefairy down on the field until you're ready to attack with it, because it's very vulnerable. But, yeah, starts it off with the 200, and now you've got that energy stuck on the Ralts on the bench, so that's not available for you to Psychic Embrace. There are still 2 energies in the discard, so you can still put that on Guardy to retreat, but you're setting it up here for a potential knockout. You got no monkeys ready to go yet, so you're only going to get the potential to heal 30 damage off. That's not enough to save it from another Phantom Dive, but the good news for Justin is he's got his items now. Oh no, sorry, knocked out the Fez. What am I thinking? So yeah, he also gets the 2 prizes there. I missed that part. Oops. But yeah, with the Dusknoir, I had put enough damage with the little chip damage from Itchy Pollen. It was enough. Mystery Garden comes out, so tools are back online and can get some draw going along with the ever-important Psychic discard. Another Lilies. Only gets 6 this time, though. Not of his own making, but that Dusknoir mess up your Lilies draws. We're down to 6 minutes, though. The game is progressing slowly. Saris is already in position to take 2 more prizes next turn, unless... I'll say whiff on the Gust, but Turo's not going to be any help this turn. Maybe next turn. He's got the Ultra Ball to discard some more energies, but really, what do you go for here? Lily's Clefairy could be the option. Right now it would be dealing 200. Could be your attacker. And if you think you have the ability to get it back next turn, you could have it attack twice in a row for you. Yep. Here she comes. There's a Pidgey in the chat. Sure, why not? I'll throw an Ultra Ball at that. Why not? Can always use more Pidgeys. I'm disappointed I missed the Gibble earlier, to be honest. All I want to catch is Garchomp line stuff, of course. Who would want anything else? Another play stoppage. What is going on now? I mean, he Ultra Balled, but... Oh, man, I threw an Ultra Ball at that Pidgey and it still got away. I mean, he Ultra Balled, but he's not under item lock, so I don't know... Are they might be calling him on the amount of time he's taking. That's the other possibility I can think of, is that he's maybe taking too much time to search here. Could always be a call from the back as well, that sometimes people in the background. Oh, or it could be just a technical issue. That also makes sense. Some kind of sound issue, or one of the mics isn't working. Because both the judges do need to be able to hear both of the players at all times. That is important. Though they are discussing with the judges, so that would indicate it's more likely some sort of judge call here. What's up, Janae? How's it going? Welcome in to our early morning stream, watching our Toronto regionals that could have been. I'm not crying, you're crying. We're in the middle of watching interesting matchup here. Good old Dragapult versus Gardevoir. We know which one of those is favored in the matchup. Too soon? Still hurts? Yeah. I know. Gotta wait at least until the tournament's over to start making jokes, right? I'm excited to go play in the deli today, though. I gotta finish putting my deck together. And then I gotta finish putting my deck box together. Explaining to the players what's going on here. I'm very interested to know exactly what is actually happening here. Yeah, I saw the word time there come out of his mouth, so probably something to do with the amount of time that Justin's taking in these searches. That's the only thing I can really think of. That just making sure that you're making plays consistently. Very easy to misconstrue at this point in the match that a player could be stalling for time when they're just taking a little bit extra time to think. Oh. And I guess the match is over? Huh. Was that a DQ on time? Is that what we are seeing? And I guess we're just going to the Canada logo. Okay, Pokemon, weird transition, but we're good. Yeah, it looks like Saris won. That's definitely the face of victory that we're seeing. Love the deck box. That would not win in an unhinged deck box contest, though. Either that or might have just scooped. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be very interested to get the story here. I don't know, let's listen in a little bit, see if we can get some insight.
But he's a capable player. I know he's going to take a moment, be frustrated like anybody would be, shake it off, and get into the last 2 rounds.
Yep.
So as we look back into this game, it was totally back and forth through this set. Game 1 was all Justin. Just had complete control. Double Gardevoir EX out on the 3rd turn.
No, they wouldn't be using the new rules here yet.
For Karis to be able to respond with, won this game, and then it was the complete opposite. Just absolute board control. Badu just prevented multiple Curlion rolls from being put into play, and Phantom Dive swept things up as we headed into game number 3. What a close one this was, but it was really that early turn disruption, and notably,
yeah, I mean, it was looking really good for Saris, so
machine evolution not being able to evolve, and that was the big turning point.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if, especially if there was a 2-prize penalty, at that point Justin would have just scooped, so.
Put a lot of more pressure onto Karis than he was able to do, so we got into a weird back and forth in the endgame where Justin was put onto finding these specific pieces, which is what Dragapult has to do in the matchup, and it comes down to can Gardevoir find those pieces to win.
Yeah, it was also tough that game, even if he had gotten that Gardevoir out. There were the 2 Psychic Energy prize and the 2 Earthen Vessel, and as important as it is, we talk about a lot for getting, you know, Curlias out into play on turn 2 for the technical machine evolution. It's almost as important that you at least get a couple Psychic Energy in the discard pile as well while you...
Yeah, just too... I agree. Too slow of a start there. Wasn't going to be able to pull off that game 3, so... But no new time rules yet, so no worries there. I mean, you got to remember that the new time rules, while they might be a little bit more well-defined and strict, they're not really that different from what we have now. Everybody's kind of freaking out because they're putting exact time frames on it, but you know, you still have to play at a certain pace. It's just before these rules are being implemented, they're not as well defined. So people still get penalties for slow play. People still get disqualified for that if they think it's egregious and you've gotten enough warnings. Even now, it's just it'll be a lot harder for players to justify not knowing about the time rules now that they've laid it out in clear and concise amounts for each different thing. And it gives the judges a better tool to go in and say, hey, this is the rule. It's 15 seconds for this, and you took 20. And that's why you're getting a penalty. Not, we feel like you were going too slow. You know, it's good for the judges. It's good for the players, ultimately, to get used to that, so they can get used to how quickly they have to play through things. And yeah, I mean, if Justin had been given warnings about time, that could have been a 2-prize penalty issued there for slow play. And at that point, he's got no shot at coming back, so I would scoop too. But... Or he just, in that search, he could have just missed what he was looking to get and then just scooped. I don't know exactly how that worked out there, but either way. Looks like we got 5 minutes on break here before we get to the next round. So I'm going to go ahead and run a quick ad break here. So if you guys are watching on Twitch and are not subscribed to the channel, then I'll see you in a minute. But for those of you that are subscribed or are watching this VOD on YouTube later, I'll just keep talking. I'm actually going to get up, stretch a little bit. Make myself a little breakfast. Question is, what do I want for breakfast? I think I'd like to have some eggs, but that's going to take too long to cook right now. Let him cook! Nah, we'll do some yogurt and some blueberries. That's our breakfast of choice today. All right, welcome back, everybody. Excuse me, I'm making some breakfast right now, but while we're in break here for another 4 minutes. So usually, I'm used to playing games while I stream, so I'm not used to having downtime while I stream. That's kind of nice, actually. Yeah, do we really need to talk about that ADP card? I don't really feel like talking about it. Card was the devil. And to answer your next question, yes, I did play that deck on course. Of course I did. How could you not? This was back during COVID times when we were doing tournaments online. Kind of like I wish we were doing now. My number one reason for wanting to become a Unite player is so that I don't have to go anywhere to compete. I can snuggle with my cat and play a competitive game at the same time. Sounds kind of nice, right? All right. Well, back to it. It was a pace of play penalty. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and whether that was a game loss or a 2-price penalty, kind of irrelevant there. Because yeah, that was doom for him either way. And that's good. I'm glad they're enforcing that, especially on stream, because it sets the precedent for everybody else to adhere to. Also, there's a drowsy in chat if anybody wants it. If you've never played the Pokemon community game before, you got to start with exclamation point Poke Start. And then you can do exclamation point Poke Catch. But if you have played it before, you can just do exclamation point Poke Catch, which will default to Pokeball. If you want to use a different ball, you do exclamation point Poke Catch, and then you put in the name of the ball you want to use. Like we are getting back into it. Which means I should probably sit down and start focusing again, right? I'm almost ready. Just gonna refresh my water while I'm up and around, but here we go. All right, Brent Tonneson versus Emma Hagen. Jelly Guardy versus the Evolution Stick. Nice. I like it. You don't see a lot of Evolutions. It's kind of a specialized deck. Don't mind me. You're gonna hear some ice cubes breaking here, probably. I'm one of those water snobs that only likes to drink ice water. I think we're about to run out on our soundtrack. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's just beginning. Yeah, lowest rarity ball. That is correct. All right. I can only wonder what we're waiting for. But yeah, the Evolution deck is, it's not very popular. Not a whole lot of people play it. But the people that do tend to play it, tend to play it pretty well. So we got 31 points versus 30 points here. Hoot Hoot start on one side, but instantly gets the Terapagos, so you already got your Terra down. And yeah, that's an easy bench pass. That's still a good start for turn one, though. Like, if you can't get to your Fan Rotom, you at least want to have a couple of Hoot Hoots down, so that totally works. Wow. That is a bad start for Brent, though. Only able to get the one Ralts down, and no supporter. I mean, double Monkey, but no energy attachments, no energy discards. And instantly Noctowl jumping out with that Jewel Seeker. Most annoying deck? And so, if we're looking at Gardevoir currently being the most annoying deck, then that just makes me think decks that's the best overall. Then that has to be Dragapult. It's going to be annoyingly good. It'd be nice to know what they're grabbing here, but for some reason the camera doesn't want to let us see any of that. Okay, so there we go. Double Jewel Seeker into the Sparkling Crystal energy attachment. Got that Eevee that lets you immediately evolve it when it's active. And double energy right to Terapagos. What a start for Emma. Woo! And if I'm Brent, I'm currently deciding how long I want to wait before I scoop this game. And I don't really see the point in playing it any further here because, sure, you just got 3 Pokemon in your hand, but, I mean, that Kirlia is already destined to get knocked out. You have no other basics on the field. How do you come back in this situation? You're going to be down 2 prizes before you bench your first Ralts to potentially evolve it. Like, I'm already scooping if I'm Brent right here. But that's just me. He's clearly 10-1, you know, or 10-1-1, so he's doing pretty good. I am open to being corrected. Area 0 will open up another 3 bench slots here. And that's the thing, you don't even get to bench them. The call sign just puts them in your hand, so you're not benching the Ralts until next turn, so yeah. I mean, like, he's already getting that Kirlia ready to get knocked out. So another Jewel Seeker will come down for Candy. So we're going to have Candy to the Pidgeot. So now they've also got Quick Search rolling. There's still another Hoot Hoot on the bench for next turn. Quick Search. And that's the thing. You can tell that Emma has played this deck a lot because of the pace. Like, there is no chill in that pace of play right now. Just boom, 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 boom. A little bit of time for that first deck search, of course, because you're looking at what's prized, but the players that play this deck play it a lot. They are experts in playing the Evolutions deck. So it's going to get out EVEX, is going to start attaching to it with that attack, that knockout. So yeah, Brent's got Fez, and of course, you know, Gardevoir, well known for being one of the better come from behind decks. But this would be the best come from behind victory I think I've maybe ever seen. Could also be a little bit of information gathering. You know, sometimes if you feel like you have an abundance of time, like there are only 5 minutes in the round, so you can play out that game one a little bit to try to get some information of what your opponent has. Does play down the Mega Deontay. Research to get at least another Psychic in the discard. Yeah, and just to the pass, so. I don't think there's any way for them to one-shot the Mega Deontay because of that 30 reduction on the ability. The 280 would only be 250. But we'll boss out the Fez, so can definitely take that out. Now, of course, can't use that attack twice in a row. The Carnelian? I think that's the name of the attack, but so Flareon EX will not be able to attack next turn unless it gets swapped out to the bench. But still, Emma, first 4 prizes of the game, already dominating. No worries. Thanks for being here. I don't know, at this point in this match, I feel like Brent is kind of information gathering. Is the only reason I can think that he's still in this game. Especially rebenching the Fez. Either that or it's that classic Gardevoir time management where he thinks, you know, maybe this isn't a very favorable matchup, especially based on how game 1 went. So maybe he's just trying to make sure there's not too much time left on the clock for games 2 and 3. So he's not playing slow by any means. He's keeping a perfectly fine pace. But he's little things like that where, you know, he plays it and then he holds the card for a tick or two, you know. It's like, well, you already played the card, so you're not really thinking about anything in particular. You know, so what's that extra tick? It looks like just the most subtlest of stalling, you know, like a little bit. Not much. It's very subtle. Okay, so he decides to just put the 3 on there for 40. He'll move 30 over from each one of those. And then, yeah, the 240 is enough for the knockout on the Pidgeot. There you go. That's pretty good. And still, the Flareon... So the Flareon does get the ability to attack now that it's gone to the bench. It's cleansed of all effects of attacks when it goes to the bench. So, does have the ability to attack once again. can't knock out the Mega Deontay. I can't think of any way for it to get that extra damage for it. That is one of the few drawbacks to the Evolutions build. It does have a damage cap, but only needs a boss to bring out the Fez to win here. Did you get down? Get out of the way. Cat trying to get between me and the monitor, so I can't see what I'm calling. 10 minutes off the clock already here. So if it can get to another Noctowl, perhaps could get to that last boss's orders that's needed. Instead, I'll just do the big damage, putting it to 10. Woo! Close. Very, very close. Victini away from victory there. So you would have to heal the Deontay before you could Psychic Embrace to it again. The Bravery Charm and the Latias not helpful in the prizes there. This is where a Turo would come in handy. We'll manually attach. I mean, you already let it go, so that's... Oh. Is Deontay only one retreat? Wow, look at the shivers. I don't blame him. I feel the same way. On the big stage. Okay, so yeah, trying to monkey target down that Hoot Hoot, which he knows is the main threat. If he can get another Noctowl out on the field, then there's trouble right here in River City, or Viridian City. We're going to pay that retreat cost to bring up the other one that can attack this turn. Makes sense. I still don't know how Brent takes 4 prizes here before Emma takes 2. Gets the 1 prize off the Ralts. I think they might be out of energies to charge, but only needed to do the flame charge there. Didn't have to, or the burning charge. Didn't have to Cornelian again. So still has that built up and ready to go. Mystery Garden will bump the area 0, which means having to discard some of these. Actually, it takes the Hoot Hoot off the board, which is interesting. But that will prevent Brent from being able to knock it out. So I almost wonder if he should have monkeyed first to knock out the Hoot Hoot. It's probably going to need the monkey damage to actually secure the knockouts here anyway. It is down to 1 prize, so Screamtail's not really an option. I don't know why we're showing Gravity Mountain on the field. Maybe Emma drew into Gravity Mountain, which would help with the knockouts on the Guardy. Reduces Guardy down to 280, which is just enough for Carnelian. So if the Guardy is the one that's left out and the Gravity Mountain is in Emma's hand, then this is over. Secret Box. I already played the Iono, so no more support of this turn, but can use that Gust. So this may be a Gust stall play. Could maybe bring out the Blood Moon and hit it once. Or the... I mean, the Blood Moon would be better for stalling, but... You do have to do a bit more damage to set up the knockout. Still 40 away after the Miracle Force. So it'll require both the monkeys to knock that out. Was that just a quick pass? Oh no. Wow. No way. I can't believe that just happened. Just a total whiff on Emma's side. That... Holy cow. Well, you know, like I said, I can be wrong, and you know, I'm always welcome to be corrected. And that was like the greatest comeback I think I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. Down so far. Guardy does do that, but still, you know, just to whiff, had to whiff on the bosses, had to whiff on the Noctowl for the Jewel Seeker. And just the perfect stalling combinations, moving over the 2 with Monkey there, and then getting the extra Gust for knockout. Just crazy. You have to be very careful about when you knock things out to prevent Fez. Just, yeah, that's, I mean, that would be why he's up there. Because I would have given up on that game 13 minutes earlier, and he won it, so. Crazy. Look at Brent. Well done, sir. Frillish start this time around. Particularly good when you're going second. You can get that Oceanic Gloom out the first, right out the gate. Only give your opponent 1 opportunity for items. This time, Emma able to get the Fan Rotom start that they would prefer to have. Gets that boosted evolution right away. So it's already Flareon out there with an energy. Just needs the fire to be able to attack next turn. It's pretty cool. Iono's gotta yield another Pokemon for Brent here, otherwise he is in trouble. Of course, then again, I said that last game, and I was wrong, so, you know. Couple energies. No? It didn't look like he had anything to get another basic out, so. Is there the capability of grabbing a fire energy on Emma's side right now? Or the shard. Ultra Ball. Okay. I missed the Ultra Ball in there. Gets the Mew down. Alright. Doing a little extracurricular deck search there after already selecting the Pokemon. But they're letting them play. I like it. Beyonce comes down. Mystery Garden. Oh no, that was restart. I was like, wait a minute, where's the discard? And there's the discard for 1. Still a good deal though, because you get 1 card out. And there's the Oceanic Loom, no items. So I'm gonna counter the stadium right out the gate, and Hilda will get the energy. So yeah, there's your turn 2 knockout. Also can grab you a Noctowl for Jewel Seeker, get you a couple of trainer cards. And once again, my girly has decided to sit right in front of the monitor. Do you mind? Get down. Come on. Why is that your favorite spot? Come sit with me. We can snuggle. So knockout on the Frillish. Starting out strong early again in game 1 and game 2. So going right to the Fez. A little concerned that there's still no Ralts down, but once again, that was my problem with Brent's game 1, and he overcame that. So, do you mind? I'm watching my show. You're just gonna fall asleep. I mean, that's the thing. She snuggles in and she watches for like 2 minutes and then she falls asleep. So. No, don't go up there. Come here. It's like she knows I'm going to leave her later to go to the game night deli or something. I got 2 different decks that I've been thinking about taking there today. One is a little bit more competitive than the other. They're both fun decks, though. So I think I'm going to go with the slightly more competitive deck. Just for funsies. And there she is again, right up in front. You, down in front. Look, you don't have to come sit with me. I'm just saying, you can't sit in front of the monitor. So actually has to offer up the Ralts as a sacrifice. That's rough. Brent's approach to this is like, well, you're going to gust it out anyway, so I might as well just leave the Ralts up front for you. I mean... needs all the other pieces, I suppose. The Beyonce with 2 energies can still do the 240, but... unless there's damage on another part of the field, it's not enough to knock out, so you're depending on a later... Adrena Brain to come through. And that's the early 2-0 start. As the Ralts gets knocked out. Couple energies going to the Eevee. I like how they're building up the Pheasantipity too. Can look at some arrow attacks here. Does manage to get the counter catcher to maybe look at that Fez. That's an easy knockout for Beyonce if Brent can get 1 more energy. Decent prizes. We'll take those. Don't love the 2 energies at the top, but you've got plenty of energies to spare in that deck. Whiffed on the energy though. Still has the Fez, so could still pull an energy from the 3. gets to bump the area 0 with the Artisans, so we're going to see 3 Pokemon flying into the discard here. Fan Rotom, the Terrapagos, and one of the Hoot Hoots. Yeah, still no Noctowls played this game. Emma hasn't been able to establish the Pidgeot yet either. Did manage a Dark Energy, but that's not going to help with Beyonce. So yeah, that's just going to be a pass. Bravery Charm, though, will bump that up to 320, so even safer than it was before. Does immediately get that Pidgeot, though, as I had mentioned it. It's the Caster Curse, right? As soon as you mention something, everything changes. They're making pretty good pace still, even with that, you know, longer than I thought it would be game 1. Jewel Seeker, or Boss, and the tool there, that prismatic crystal, or no, sparkling crystal. Gusts out the easy to knock out Fez, and there's a couple of easy prizes. No attack for that Flareon next turn. Also gets gusted. Secret Box being eyed up by Brent, so he's going to get his choice of items. Immediately going to that Iono now that Emma's 2 prizes. That makes sense. And then that counter catcher just chilling there. If Brent manages to win this without a Gardevoir on the field, again, I will be stunned. Never mind, there's the Gardevoir. Gonna once again bring out the Pidgeot, which will enable the Flareon to attack again, but gonna at least get the Iono down. And it was that hand disruption that really slowed the momentum and prevented Emma from being able to close out game 1. So if Brent can manage to knock out the Pidgeot and get that, you know, hand size down to 2 to hopefully prevent a Jewel Seeker follow-up, which, yeah, you easily will be able to move over the 60 with the Monkey Dories, and then the double Beyonce discard is enough to knock out the Pidgeot. So there you go. First 2 prizes of the game, and then the disruption game is on. Yeah, and that's a rough hand. That is 2 means to grab basics, which means nothing, and Ursaring. Which, I mean, Blood Moon Ursaluna. So, it's going to forego the Ursaluna, instead it's going to Artisan for another Hoot Hoot. Still can get the attack off, but yeah, with the Beyonce, there is no way to knock this out. There's no Gust. Yeah, I mean, the win condition here for Emma is Gust into the Mew for a knockout. We'll get the 3 from Fez. If Brent takes another 2 prizes, could look at knocking out a 1 prizer with the Briar. Not quite sure why we're straightening out our Fez, because they've definitely already flipped the script. It does still manage the 180. Or I guess 250, I should say. I was thinking 280. But yeah, with that diamond coat, I'm gonna reduce that by 30. Another Monkey Dory. That's really the name of the game with Guardy. It's just it's the big brain deck. It's got all those Adrena brains. Attached to the dark and into lilies. So now I can move the 90 over, so I can knock out one of the Hoot Hoots. Yep, exactly. Thank you for the drawing. I appreciate it. It's a good assist from the caster team there. Yeah, where are those triple threes going is the question. Didn't leave down the Blood Moon Ursaluna to stall this time, so Emma kind of learning from that game 1 experience. It's gonna go with the 3. And the problem with putting all that damage on the Deontay and leaving it there is that now it's an endless well of being able to Adrena Brain from, which can be kind of tough. And so in the Miracle Force hits for 190, putting it down to 20, and that Flareon is still kind of stuck there because it can't attack this turn, so it would have to retreat. And again, without the Gust option, and there's no Noctowl in the discard because when the area 0 was bumped, there were no Noctowls on the field for Emma to put into there, so the Night Stretcher doesn't help. And Emma's got to be careful on time here. Looks like it's gonna declare the retreat. But yeah, I mean, with Brent with only 4 prizes left, all he needs is the Gust. If he can Gust up the Fez, Miracle Force can knock that out, and the Adrena Brains can do the rest. So Emma's in a really tough spot here. Wow, just passes, though. Let's see the retreat to the... Yeah. Because then, yeah, it can snipe the Fez, so... Amazing. Amazing plays from Brett Tomlinson. That's why... Oh, yeah. That's why Gardevoir, I think, a lot of people look at it as the best deck right now. Still. I mean, it's certainly the most versatile and high ceiling deck. You know, that because you can make plays that and comebacks that no other deck can really do. Like, we could talk about Goldango being the strongest and most consistent deck as long as we want, but when you get to this level in the game, that high skill tier, and you need that high skill ceiling to be able to rely on to be able to outplay your opponents, you can't beat a versatile deck like Gardevoir. That's why it's been so successful for so long. It's won so many tournaments. I was surprised it took until this last August to win Worlds for that reason. But yeah, really, really great plays. I cannot believe how he came back in that game 1. That was crazy to me. And I mean, it really came back in game 2 as well. You know, you see here, this is where, I mean, I thought at that point it was over. And Emma even got it down to 1 prize here, but just could not come up with the cards to close out. And that's the thing is, you know, ultimately off of these 2 or 3 card Ionos, you know, just 1 card different, and Emma could have turned that around, no problem, but just didn't get it, you know, and that's just Brent playing to the odds. You know, we've got to take. He knows he's got to take out the Pidgeot. He knows he's got Iono down to 2 to try to reduce the chances of getting to the Noctowl, getting to the boss that you need. I was just able to get it done. But still, some crazy plays. Well, since we're getting an interview with Brent, I would love to hear what he's got to say. So I think we'll listen in on the interview process at least. So I'm gonna give myself a little break, and we'll go ahead and listen to our casters here.
What you do, but if you overcommit to one style, then you just lean into something for Brent to counter on the other side. If you go to the Wellspring, then maybe just not setting up those single prize Pokemon or finding Bravery Charms from Monkey Dory.
Right, being out
avoid
versatile.
any of that
Yeah.
shenanigans. On the other side, if it's just all
Makes
Flareons and
sense.
Pidgeots, then Brent has a pretty clear avenue to just attack in, avoid taking the knockout at the right time, and then set up for 4 prize turns.
I do have to say though, Kyle, even though it was a loss, it is so fun to watch Emma play this
Yes.
deck.
Yeah,
I mean, you can
for
tell
sure.
she is one with this archetype. She knows what she needs to do. Just cards absolutely flying across the table
Yeah.
because she
No
is
chill
just
in that pace of
at-
play.
Just
None.
knows what to do, knows the pieces, knows the routes that she needs to take, and pieces it all together very masterfully.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the list, you would love to see later on after this event.
No, she already posted it.
Yeah, go on Twitter, you're gonna find it right there. But yeah, this is something that's so fun, is that every single inclusion is that impactful. We saw just about every resource either needed to be found at the right time or could have had a way to help out at some point. Even the Serrano was able to
Yes.
come into the mix and find additional resources to get the job done. It's just so cool that every single card needed to be in the deck.
Yeah, I mean, you can always tell whenever this is like, you can tell when it's a deck that someone is like in love with. It's their pet deck. You know, they
Yeah.
tweaked it and mastered every.
I love when I
single
find
little
that deck
inclusion,
myself as a
optimized
player, for sure.
every little option so that they are going to have answers to whatever matchup. I mean, some of the cards we didn't even see, right? I mean, we know the Leafeon is in the mix. You know, the grass type that can KO.
Doesn't help when it's your last
absolutely,
prize.
Marnie's Grimmsnarl, right? Also, the healing option against Dragapult is really strong.
Last Trumpet, Energy Switch, there's so many things that are aggro counters if you're running into some players that are a little more aggressive. So you've got that Briar for some oddball closeouts in some matchups too. It's just, there's so many different ways to find a way to close out a game like this. And I think it also leads to a lot of players are innovating how they go about the match. I know play style isn't something everyone loves to talk about, but truly, that is an important piece of how you go about.
I don't know.
this
I love to
avenue
talk about
because
play
Your
style.
opponent is countering as you go, and it's such a
It's
great
good stuff.
chess match.
Well, we've gone on and on about Emma and her Flareon deck, but I also, Kyle, am of course excited to hear from our winner
Yes.
of the last round. Brent
Let's hear the
Thompson,
interview.
Fighting back, being down 2 games early. Let's hear how he's feeling.
Thank you, Chip. Kyle, I am here with our round 13 winner, Brent Tonneson. First of all, congratulations. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, and thank you.
Yeah, you've been playing Gardevoir for what seems like quite a while now, and you play pretty confidently as well. Going into that matchup, how are you feeling against a deck that's not really at the top of the meta share with Emma's Flareon?
Yeah, so I know that matchup is favored. However, I don't prepare. Like, it's not within my which decks I test against. So I definitely feel like whatever percentage I have shifts more towards Emma because Emma's probably playing the matchup better than I am. So, however, I didn't have that complicated of game scenarios. There was one situation that I wasn't sure if I made the right play, which was actually super running energies back into my deck, and then I
Right.
missed the attachment with the Diancie, which kind of changed the game. Then I somehow got really lucky and managed to get the combo to win the game this round afterwards anyway.
Yeah, both games, game 1 and game 2, you really just got on the back foot. Emma is really being very aggressive, taking knockouts. You even put up a Ralts just to have it get KO'd.
That was
And
crazy.
That was the only one in play, and you were really just trying to find the energy for that Mega Diancie. It seems like Mega Diancie was really the star of that match.
Yeah, so the idea with putting the rolls was because I had the Diancie plus the counter catch, I had an attacker on the following turn. So I didn't want to retreat with a one prize like Monkey Dory and then get Fez Snipe because I wouldn't have a way to retreat back into Diancie. So I couldn't actually pass with the Monkey. So the only option was I either pass with the Diancie, pass with the Fez, or pass with the Mew, or just pass with the Rolls. And I'm like, well, if the Rolls is gonna die anyway, I may as well give the Rolls, concede one less prize card, and then just have the access to the Diancie on the following
Yeah, the
turn.
switch. Yeah.
I mean, it worked out for you.
Crazy.
There was the boss around it, and then you were able to rare candy Gardevoir the next turn, get basically the same setup that you had in game one, where you put a lot of damage in play and then try to close it out with that Scream Tail, and it ended up being just exactly that. Now you're playing a list that's pretty close to the winning list from the Champions League back in December, but also
Okay,
pretty
what
close
is
to the highest
this?
listed Gardevoir in Stuttgart
The
as well.
Wet Goose ignores
Yeah,
tradition.
I did see both those lists.
What?
I'm like, well, I do like the list, and however, there were, with the Japanese list, there was only one count that I did not like. It was just like one card count, and then with the I was fine fully with the list from Stuttgart. However, I did think that having the extra supporter was still better than having the extra artisan, so I did decide to just go for that anyway.
And then now they were talking about it on your match, where you have won a regionals in the past 3 seasons, trying to keep that streak up, and you're at how many regional wins now?
Yeah, so I've won a regionals in the past 3 seasons, and yeah, I'm at 6 regional wins.
Yeah, that's a lot. Of course, trying to catch the players like Michael Pramwat, Azul, Garcia Griego, and I think if anyone could do it, it's you. I mean, you're traveling everywhere. You have a very good start to here. We got, what, one more Swiss round before ASIM top cut?
Yeah, there's one more Swiss round. I basically just need to figure out how I can avoid it. Oh, avoid the ASIM round, yeah. So I have, one more Swiss round. I can see if I can play to maybe skip that round, so I gotta do that.
And then, do you have any shout-outs to give for the people at home, people watching, any people here?
I'll just say shout out to my friends and my family, and yeah, that's about it.
All right, I appreciate it. Congratulations again. We're most likely going to see you for the rest of the top cut and everything like that. And maybe we'll even see you win your regional for this season. But that does it for here. We're going to go ahead and take it down to the analyst.
What was I saying? Okay, well, here, you know, we're going to, while we're in break here, we're going to go back to this. I got to see, like, somebody's having fun with this, with their with what they put up on the stream for the summation of the round. Essentially, the Wet Goose ignores traditional migratory patterns to chase down another regional championship win. I guess Brett Tonneson is the Wet Goose. It's like, excuse me, what did they just say? Like, what did they just put on stream? What? Well, anyway. Back to live. Pretty funny. But we are going to go on another quick ad break here while we are in between rounds. Yeah, the Wet Goose part. Yeah, I started to read it, but I didn't want to interrupt the interview. But yeah, we're gonna go on a quick ad break. So for those of you that are not subscribed here on Twitch, we'll be back in 60 seconds. But for those of you that are on YouTube and are subscribed, let's see, they're going over the breakdown. I mean, the breakdown is simple, is that Gardevoir is more versatile than Flareon. So Flareon, gonna be the more consistent, more aggressive deck, but Gardevoir has more options to be able to get in certain good scenarios to win, and manipulate the board, the hand size, better targeting with more and better gust options. It's basically that contest of strength versus finesse. And at the top of the game, finesse tends to win a lot more often and be a lot more successful. You're not going to see that in 100% of scenarios because finesse decks are sometimes a little bit less consistent. But Gardevoir kind of bucks that trend. For as crazy versatile as it is still a very consistent deck. Yeah, now he's got to be careful with that 3 right there. Like, that's one of those things that the other player could call them out on if they wanted to. That kind of forces them to leave that. That ultimately is up to the opponent whether or not they want to push that point. But once you let go of all 3 of those, that counts as a declaration. So your opponent can call you on that. And he would be forced to leave that last energy on there, which means that he would have had to move all 60 from the Deontay rather than just the 30-30, which makes the Gardevoir more vulnerable. If the Gardevoir gets gusted, then Carnelian could knock that out. So it's little things like that that sometimes get you in trouble in Pokemon games. So you gotta be very deliberate and very precise. Especially at the top of the game where people will not only know that they can call that on you, but they're competitive enough that they will. Yeah, and then was able to knock out the Fez. Crazy close to game 1. And it manifested so fast, I didn't even see it. I didn't even see it all happening. But it's also because I didn't expect Emma to draw pass. I didn't know it was in Emma's hand. It's got the worst Ionos that game. Just no help off the Ionos in the top decks. Which, I mean, that's the whole point, right? Brent is trying to do the disruption at the end of the game when it's most effective. And he needs it the most. And both of these early games looked really rough for Brent, but that's the thing. Guardy has the room and the playback ability to really be able to slow the game down. And the fact that there was no Noctowl on the field here when that Area 0 got bumped, it was a really big deal because now there's no Noctowl in the discard to get Night Stretchered, which is what came up later off of one of those low card Ionos from Emma. Got to the Night Stretcher, but wasn't able to Night Stretcher a Noctowl because there wasn't one in the discard. And then, yeah, here was able to make that really good play to the 2-card Iono, knocked out the Pidgeot. So, no quick search. And still gets the Fez, but you would expect out of 6 cards, you'd see something that could help. But off the Fez, only got the Night Stretcher, which was, thought they had the Night Stretcher here. I could be wrong. But yeah, I just didn't get anything. And if it's just a 1 or 2 card Iono and you're only sitting on a couple cards, you kind of expect to not get what you're looking for. But when you get the Fez off of it too, and you get a total of 6 cards, you're expecting to see something to help. But this late in the game, a lot of resources expended. And I think maybe that was where the Night Stretcher was top decked. Yeah. So on that next turn, that would have been great, but there's no Noctowl there. So. And there was no knockout, so there's no Fez. So, because they're just setting up for the 4-turn prize. Or 4-prize turn, I should say. Very cool. I love that they're doing the breakdowns afterwards. That is actually a really cool addition to the broadcast. I love it. And that is how you win the game of Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen. You never give up. You never surrender. So one more Swiss round, and then it'll be top pet. That probably won't all be played out in the next 3 hours here, which is all the time I have today before I get to go and play in a tournament myself at the Game Night Deli. So that'll be fun. Still gotta finish putting my deck together too, so. Right now I'm having a lazy morning snuggling with my girly, but eventually I'll need to get up and use the in-between round time. And, 7.5 minutes, this is probably a good opportune time, but also my cat has been a menace today, and she's finally comfortably snuggling and asleep, so the law of cats. You're not allowed to get up unless it's absolutely necessary. Plus, I mean, if I don't have time to put my deck together, I can always just play Goldango, but I probably should have done it last night, but I didn't really feel like it. Whoops. Where's Badoo? Oh, I love it. It's kind of like Where's Waldo? So you gotta find the Badoo. Yep, there it is. Hiding in the cup. Excellent. Our good old Badoo reporter. It's a nice brooch. I'm sure she will forgive you if you stand up. Fernando, you clearly don't know enough about cats or women. She will never forgive me if I stand up right now. Because it's not needed. It's not necessary. She understands if, I have to go pee, or if I'm hungry and I can't stop eating. I need to eat more. Can't stop, won't stop. And of course, if she decides to get up, then I'm home free, but otherwise, she will hate me forever, hold a grudge, and stand in front of my monitor until the end of time. And I don't really want to do that. I really don't want that to be what happens. I mean, the real question is, should I bring my sort of rogue deck, or should I bring my completely rogue deck? So I had two in mind. One will be a little bit harder to build than the other, because I have one that's sort of... The one that's only sort of rogue, I already have it sort of built. So it would just be, putting the rest of it together. But also, there's a Metatite in the chat, if anybody wants it. I'll throw an Ultra Ball at it. Why not? Let's see. I like catching Pokemon. Take a look at this cool deck. Nice. Good investigative journalism here. Let's listen into what Emma has to say about this deck.
This is by far the best Pidgeot EX deck. Like, Charizard is fine, but it's just not my cup of tea. So what I did is that I found a meta deck that played Pidgeot and just kind of slowly over time improved it a lot. Just adding more consistency, better options with Hilda, Jet Energy, Glass Trumpets, etc. To the point where I'm very happy with the list. This list I'm bringing today is very similar to my Gdansk 60, but with a few cards that I view as just pure upgrades.
All right, what would you say would be those upgrades?
Terra Orb was probably my least used and most mediocre card in Gdansk, but in this list I played a second EVEX, which functions as the Terra Orb slot while also being a card with a lot more text. Burning Charge onto EVEX is a line that we discovered was very good when we played the Dusknoir build of the deck,
Nice.
and Carnelian was very difficult to accomplish. And with going back to this standard build, now Carnelian is a lot easier to accomplish, but Burning Charge onto EVEX is still a very good play that we didn't really discover until we kind of needed it.
And now you were saying this is the best Pidgeot EX deck, but you're only playing a 1/0/1. You're doing the full 4/4 Noctowl, the 2 Fan Rotom. What makes it so powerful?
What makes it so powerful is the combo potential. Like, this is a deck where you can't really afford to have dead cards, so every single one of your cards needs to at least have text and be viable in every single matchup.
This is
So
the one I
if you
find
play
interesting
a
for
second
Black
Pidgey
Belt's training.
and you have access to your first Pidgey, then your second Pidgey is always dead. Because you just need to be able to have multiple Ultra Balls, you need to be able to do double Noctowl once in a while, to be able to just promote Pidgeot, bench boosted Evo, and Carnelian the same turn, even with a Briar or a Boss if needed.
All right. I like it a lot. And this has been one of the decks that seemingly is pretty difficult to play, and you seem to play it perfectly and with so much speed every single time you're on stream. What really gives you that advantage?
Well, for me, it's mostly experience, but also kind of how the deck just functions. This is a deck that doesn't really draw cards. You have Fez, and that's your only way of drawing cards, aside from an occasional Iono. So what I do, and what I get to do with this deck, is that I can just kind of play my turn in advance in my mind, so that when the opponent passes the turn, I already know exactly what I need to do, exactly when I need to do it, and my end goal. So at that point, I don't need to think on my turn. I can just play the cards super quickly, and I just don't really need to take the typical time you need in a game of Pokemon.
And then what is so special about the Sparkling Crystal Ace spec for this deck, and just in general? Why is that your Ace spec of choice?
The Sparkling Crystal is just absolutely insane. The game of Pokemon is balanced by only being able to attach 1 energy per turn, and then all energy acceleration cards being conditional. Gardevoir EX, you need a stage 2 in play. Charizard, you need a stage 2 in play. Crispin, you need to use your supporter. Blast Trumpet, you need to have them in a discard pile. But Sparkling Crystal just is that attachment regardless of any conditions. And it's also any type of energy, which allows us to only play 1 lightning energy. So we have basically 2 outs for the same card.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down and talking with me, and good luck on the tournament this weekend. And for that, we'll go back to more Pokemon action.
Excellent. Very cool. Yeah, it's an interesting deck. It's one of those specialty decks, and it's a deck that's going to be around after the rotation, so it might be a little stronger post-rotation, kind of like the Dragapult. I don't know that it'll gain popularity necessarily, but very cool to see an expert breaking it down for sure. Also, I caught the Meditite. Let's go. So one more Swiss round to go. By the way, the EV Evolution deck is not the rogue deck I'm planning to bring today. Though I could. We're actually going to do one more quick 3-roll ad break here before we get started into the next round. So, and again, if you're not subscribed here on Twitch, I'll see you in 60 seconds. But for those of you that are still here, because you're either subscribed or watching this on YouTube, I'll be very interested to see what our matchup is going into the last round. build up another 21 minutes of pre-roll ad break. So yeah, this is kind of what we expected for day one. You know, over 20% Goldango. So quite a lot of Goldango hanging around. If you take both of the Guardies together and you add them up, a little over 14%. So technically Gardevoir is the second most popular deck, but they do split it by the Jellicent and non-Jellicent variant. And then Dragapult and Dusknoir. So that's kind of, you know, the 1, 2, 3, 4 that we see in the meta. So it's so funny that the, you know, popularity just matches the meta perfectly. And then it's always like, okay, well, what's that fifth deck? That's the odd one out, and that would be the Enzoroark. But one of the figures that I don't think we pay enough attention to is this other deck figure. 35% is other decks. So while this is going to be what you're going to see most at a big regionals like this, still a full third. So probably at least 2 or 3 of your matches at regionals is going to be something random that you can't prepare for. If you're playing Goldango, you know, a couple of those decks that you run into could be fire rogue decks like Saraledge or Eevee, you know, or Flareon, like we saw in that last game. Or, you know, you could see like even something crazy like an Ethan Typhlosion. And those are just terrible matchups, unwinnable matchups for you as a Goldango, where you really have to depend on them bricking. On the other hand, those rogue decks are rogue for a reason, you know, right? They're not as consistent, so a lot of times you don't spend your time and energy teching into those because, you know, you just donk it or don't face it is what your hope is. But see, the conversion is always interesting. So you can see where about 20% of the original field was Goldango, 19% converted to day 2. So it's pretty good, especially for a deck that's that popular. But you can see Charizard is overperforming, where it was... we can actually scoop back just a little bit so we can see the literal conversion rate here. So 12% of the field was Charizard, but 17 of the day 2 was Charizard. So it converted at a much higher rate, where we have, you know, 14% Gardevoir, total 18% Gardevoir in day 2. So again, good conversion rate. 13% Dragapult, 15% conversion. So that's great. And then, you know, Enzoroark was about the same, but none of the other decks converted high enough to break the barrier here. So, you know, those 5 are really the best decks to have chosen. And you could make the argument that because of the increased conversion rate for Charizard, the Charizard might have been the best play for this tournament. Now, if Fernando's still listening, you might remember that somebody made that argument back in December. I wonder who I could be talking about. I mean, most likely the reason for that is because I feel like of those 4 decks, Goldango, Charizard, Dragapult, Gardevoir, Charizard has the best matchup against themselves, essentially. You know, Charizard can run a couple of the fire counter guys in the deck that counter Goldango. It's got Gardevoir's weakness, and its matchup against Dragapult is fairly even. So in that field of 4, Charizard probably does the best out of those 4. But Goldango does better against the entire field because it's more consistent. It has the least bad matchups, and it does really, really well against Guardy. Not so well against Guardy Jellicent, but a smaller percentage of Guardy Jellicent, obviously. It's one of the only things that can just one-shot Charizard and all that. And I was surprised to see a little bit of drop-off of the Megas, like the, you know, like, I'm surprised to see Enzoroark on this list instead of, like, you know, Mega Kang, Bouffalant, or Mega Absol, Mega Kang. I thought that deck might be a little bit more popular here. I'm sure it's out there, just not quite in the numbers that I would have expected. And yeah, definitely scan that, baby. Find a Pokemon event near you. That's always a good place to start. If you guys are just getting into Pokemon TCG or any type of Pokemon game. We've got some great local leagues here in Southern Oregon. I feel like we have, per capita, definitely one of the best Pokemon communities. I'm a big fan of it myself. And don't even get me started on that guy who started it, you know. I'm gonna go hang out with some of them this afternoon, in fact. I wonder how many Dragapults there are going to be today. I've got a plan for Dragapult in the new meta. That last match went by so fast. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that there's a long break between rounds here. It looks like everyone's getting to their seats and getting ready for the last Swiss round. So probably putting that stream game together. Is that 48 minutes on the clock? So maybe the round's already started. But they're just putting the stream match on still. Now, apparently they're setting up for Swiss round 14. It's a lot of Pokemon, man. If you're going to play 14 Swiss round, that is somewhere between 28 and 42 games of Pokemon at that point. In one weekend. That's a lot. I have no idea what part of the soundtrack we're on here, but I think we can skip whatever it is. There we go. Much better. They went much harder with the Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or no, just the Gold and Silver soundtrack than they did the Red and Blue. It's much longer. There's a Blitzel in chat, if anybody wants to try to catch that. And my copy paste keep getting stuff. This sounds like unknown music, if I'm being honest. It's probably not, but... that slow pan. I've never seen a pan as slow as this one. I'm kind of jealous of the video game players. They're probably done by now. Their rounds go by so fast. Alright, here we go. The moment we've all been waiting for. What matchup are we going to see here? I wonder. Now, we both got the Blitzer. Nice. Yeah, but I doubt they're still in Swiss. They're probably in Top Cut by now. Guardy Pulse. Good guess. We haven't seen a Goldango on stream in a while. And I'm seeing lightning energies, so that's our only clue so far. It's just like, so what's running lightning right now? Hands? Yeah. What did I say about Goldango? This is an interesting matchup. I think it favors Goldango. Well, I mean, you were just going on previous experience and odds. Of course, you know, a lot of Goldangos out there right now. So yeah, Jesse Parker, Justin Templar. We shouldn't be surprised seeing Jesse playing Miraidon. He's only got a few more opportunities to play Miraidon, so... Sometimes when you've got an archetype, you just stick with it, you know? But yeah, Goldango got a pretty easy path to getting 2 prize knockouts. Iron Hands can sometimes have a little bit of trouble keeping up in terms of getting the energy acceleration going fast enough to keep up with the speedy Goldango. Man, I got up too early. I am tired. That's what I get for trying to get up early to catch Pokemon games that are 3 hours ahead on the time zone. Especially on my weekend off, where I could be sleeping in 3 days in a row. I forget if I had a chance to tell you yet, Janae, though. I lost another 4 pounds this week, so 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks. I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll, getting rid of my roll. Well, thank you. Well, right away, the Iron Hands and the prizes is not super ideal. A lot of Goldango decks only run the 1 Premium Power Pro, so having that in the early is not super ideal, but the Soul Rock doesn't apply weakness, so it's not like you're going to be able to really bump the damage up that high to get knockouts in this matchup anyway. So you're mostly just wanting to set up your Goldangos in this match. You only had 1 Gimme Gold prize, which wasn't too bad. You never like to see Carmine early for Jesse in the prizes. And he wants to go first because he's running all the setup cards for going first. Not only does he want first turn to be able to play the Carmine, but he wants the first energy attachment in this match. Good old Magnetite with the Magneton. Interesting. So he's looking to overvolt discharge to get those energy cards for the energy acceleration. In a world where we have the eel to get back some energies, I'm surprised that anyone's still playing Magneton. But it can be an interesting way to manipulate the prize game, kind of like how Dusk Noir does. Can, hit that before an Iono to lessen the prizes, or activate your counter catcher, stuff like that. But the Squawk comes out early, which will be a easy discard to start to maybe set up some of those energies. It doesn't look like he has any energies in hand, though. Oh, no, he had two. They're hiding back there. But he starts with the Carmine, so that's the supporter for the turn. The only supporter that can be played on the first turn. Except, there's a Team Rockets one that might be doable. A Rocket, that would be a fun rogue deck to bring. Gonna Ultra Ball off of that because all these cards are getting pitched to the discard anyway by Squawk, so might as well get an extra Latias out of the deal. This deck kind of reminds me of the aggression that you see with Ceruledge sometimes, with the crazy long multiple action turn ones. And, you get to thin your Pokemon out really early with the Miraidon. And you're trying to get energies in the discard, so it all kind of works out. Probably the biggest bummer right here was the Iron Bundle start. Because he might have wanted to catch Justin off guard with that a little bit, but now you can see it plain as day. Actually, it puts up the Latias to try to protect it from a potential, Soul Rock knockout. On the other side, you don't love to see the double superior in hand at the start. It's not great. Benching the Genesect already to just search and thin. But yeah, if he doesn't have a means to get his Goldengos out here early, that's gonna be rough. He's gotta get at least one Gimmighoul down this turn, but I don't see anything that gets him that. Artisan could at least grab a Soul Rock or one of the Gimmighouls. It's gonna Vessel to continue to thin. But yeah, if this was just 2 energy pass here, that is a bad start. Even super consistent decks like Goldengo, they're not 100% immune to bricks. It does happen. My deck was on fire in the first 3 rounds, but then when I started getting paired into, other 3-0 Masters, then my deck just decided to give up on me on Friday night. Kind of a bummer in the challenge. But yeah, that represents what a lot of my starts looked like. Or not a lot, but the rounds 4 and 5 looked like. Jesse Parker going ahead and iron bundling to bring up that Genesect. Puts it in a rough spot. So if he can get to the Magneton, he could start attacking this turn with Iron Bundle, but he could also just build up the Miraidon and hit the knockout this turn. Bench is the Blood Moon Ursaluna. Research to just keep on discarding. He's looking for that Magneton. Did he get it? Yes, he did. But he's also got the Electric Generator, which he's going to start with that. There's one and two. That's wow. Okay, sure. Let's show off to the opponent even with the 4. Come on, man. I mean, I know the deck runs a lot of energy, so it can do that. And again, it thins. It thins so well to be able to make those plays more consistently. But yeah, the double generator, always a little bit salty to see those come through. Energy attachment, so he doesn't even have to pop the Magneton here, and I wouldn't. You know, don't give him another prize when you don't need to. But yeah, the quick knockout. Yep, and that's going to be the old Scooparoonie. That's what I would do too. Try to preserve time for games 2 and 3. It's rough to watch. Don't like to see Goldengo brick like that. Because that was my deck of choice this weekend. Had I been there. Well, while they're setting up, we're going to do another quick 60-second pre-roll ad break. So if you're on Twitch and not subscribed, see you in 60 seconds while they shuffle. Yeah, not a whole lot of real precise analysis to do there. It's just bad start things. Not much you can really do about that. Not really a good way out of a brick like that. Jesse definitely going to take his time shuffling here. Take some time shuffling Justin's deck too. At this much time on the clock, definitely no reason to rush. That's for sure. And that's going to be a mully. Oh, as if Jesse needs more help here, he's going to get an extra card out of the deal. Oof. Lunatone in the start. Lunatone in the start into nothing seems too familiar. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when I brick, it was the Mega Mawile that I was starting with, so that's part of the reason that I nixed it and just put in another Soul Rock, but it did make the deck a little bit more linear, so there weren't as many options. And when Goldengo's already not very versatile, so you know, I can see where there are benefits on both sides to that, for sure. This time starting out with the Gimmighoul and the Zekrom EX start for Jesse. That is not the guy you want at the start of the game. You want him at the end of the game. He's got that Charizard-like attack, that Voltage Burst. 130 plus 50 for each prize that your opponent's taken. Don't sleep on that slash attack for 50, folks. No, it's fine. You can sleep on it. Sunday morning, go take a nap on slash. So he is running the Mega Mawile, and it is prized. That's a really good place in the prizes for it, too. You get it in the mid-game when you can start maybe building it up if you need it. Jesse doesn't really run anything that I could think of that would knock out the Mega Mawile, so that is something he could play for. Except the Zekrom in the late game. Yeah, just a quick air balloon, leave the Solrock up there, and he's going first, so can't set up an attack anyway, but that Fighting Gong at least gets him something to get his Gimme Ghoul out of the active. But I don't think Jesse has any means to attack the first turn, so you could leave the Gimme Ghoul up in the active at the start without worrying too much about it. I mean, I get if he hits some crazy electric generator plays, I guess it's possible. But it looks like he's running more straight electric. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've seen any grass. I don't think this is a Joltik play. So maybe he does have a little bit more of the aggressive means to do that. Definitely a really unique blast from the past play from Jesse Parker. I like it. Once again, hands and Magnemite. And to the Squawk with the Nest Ball, so he's got the opportunity to Squawk and seize this turn. It's a nice, easy knockout target for Goldango later, though. I think this is a great matchup for Justin in general, but not if he bricks. If he does double brick, then it's not as good a matchup as it turns out. But then again, double brick isn't really a good matchup in anything, but he whiffs on the generator this time. I mean, you know, sometimes you get 4 energies in the generator, sometimes you get 0. That's that old saying, you live by the generator, you die by the generator. 3 energies in hand doesn't really help with that at all. Another Squawk, so no real help there. Get an Ultra Ball for maybe your Latias to try to get Zekrom out of there. Switch could also get him out of there, but it's temporary. Latias is forever. Instead goes to the Mew. He's looking for more draw. And if he Ultra Balls the other 2 cards away, he could get a 3-card restart. He's like, I don't like how this turn is gone. I'm going to start it all over again. I'm going to pitch all of my cards. Pretty boss, by the way. The restart for 1. And the pass. So let's see if Justin's got anything here. Did he just top deck that Lunatone? It looked to me like he top decked that Lunatone. If he did, that is a really friendly top deck. Running the secret box. So he's got to figure out. This is the toughest decision for Goldango players that run the secret box. Is what are you getting rid of in the early game? And a lot of times you have to play it so early for secret box to really be effective that it's a tough choice. You have to decide, you know, what all am I going to need for the rest of this game? And what all can I afford to get rid of? That, ladies and gentlemen, is why I play Precious Trolley. I don't have to get rid of anything. So, Nest Ball, Air Balloon. Still needs a supporter and a stadium. Eyeing up that Cypher Maniac's code breaking. And get the artisan. No shocker there. And is probably looking for what's a nest ball. No surprise that it's Genesect. So grab him a couple of Goldie Boys. Grabs a couple string cheese from the fridge. And then we'll do the code breaking. It's got the air balloon to retreat, the energy to attach, and then a couple of earthen vessels to grab 4 energies to be able to knock out the Mew. Pretty good. Gets to draw those 2 rather than putting on top of the deck. That Goldango. Coin bonus for 2 when it's active. There's 2 energies. Vessel for another 2 energies. Sacrifices the other string cheese. He has already lunar cycled, but he needs all of these energies anyway. He needs 5 total. 1 to attach, 4 to knock, so does quickly bench that other Gimme Ghoul right before the end. And there you go. First 2 prizes for Justin Templar here in game number 2. Starting off strong, where Jesse seems to be having a little bit of trouble getting going. He is going to evolve that Magneton that he just top decked, it looked like to me. He goes with the research. Stretcher's going to get that Mew back. Give him a little bit of draw potential there. So yeah, right now that Zekrom is only dealing 230, so it's enough if he's got Boss to knock out the Genesect. It does do 30 damage back to itself, so that would set it up so that Goldango only needs 4 energies for the return KO, which the 1 superior is enough. But and Justin is in control of this game right from that first 2-prize knockout. Now his script is pretty easy. And the Magneton is completely irrelevant. This knockout for the 1 prize doesn't matter because Justin is still going to need to knock out 2 Pokemon. But it does up the damage by 50. So now it's doing 280. So no longer... So yeah, there's that prize manipulation. He does 30 to himself still, but does get the knockout. Very cool. I like that play. It's one of those you look at it and you're like, neat. I'll probably grab another gimme. Give me more gimmies. And then you can grab another Goldango. Genesect. He got the superior already in hand to secure the knockout. Well, actually, I guess, again, he technically needs 5 energies because he needs the attachment and then the 4 for Make It Rain. He had the 1 though, so he had that secured. Lunar Cycles gets the energy back, so he had two superiors, so he still had it. But I'll draw 2 off the coin bonus. Gets the Fighting Gong, so another means of getting more energy. Arvin. Interesting. Runs a Bravery Charm. Bravery Charm can help your Gimme Ghouls survive some of the early game potential aggressive knockouts like with Soul Rock. It's pretty cool. Grab 1 medal and 3 fighting. Which is good because he needs that 1 medal to attach. Super Rod. Yeah, like, as long as you have a Fighting Gong, I don't see a reason to not put the fighting energy back in. You're about to discard 4, so you're going to have your superior enough for your superior the next turn. Might as well put that one back in the deck for Gong and Vessels. And there's the knockout. I gotta admit, I'm starting to get a little caster fatigue. Casting too many Pokemon games in a row can cause you to start to see cross-eyed a little bit. Like I said, I woke up too early. Now, looks like that is a scoop from Jesse Parker. So, nice comeback. Like I said, I think this is a good matchup for Justin. He just bricked in game 1. Hard to protect yourself from a brick to the face. You know, that's just how it goes. Yeah, once he was able to set up that first knockout, it was kind of over from there. I like the return KO play from Jesse, but his only hope that changes anything is that Justin somehow doesn't have the return knockout. And with Genesect already down on the field, you know there's a good shot at it. So easy peasy game 2 there. And still 26 minutes on the clock, so I'm surprised Jesse even has 1 tie with this deck, because it's pretty quick. It's a pretty fast deck. But yeah, still over half the round left. I don't anticipate that this round will be a tie, which is good, because I think points-wise, a tie probably eliminates both of these guys, but a win, I think, at least guarantees him into ASIM, if not the top 8 on its own. See if we can get a peek at their prize cards here. What did they prize? Tell me! Game 3 hype, let's go. The Genesect, not exactly the ideal starter. The Mew, on the other hand, Jesse's just fine with that. And there are our prizes. Okay, a lot of energy for Justin. That is Not the ideal amount of energies that you want in your prize cards. The Magnemite for Jesse, but I'm sure he runs more than one of those. Because I shouldn't say I'm sure. But is able to go in with the Nest Ball to grab the Miraidon. And there it is, the other Magnemite. And the hands. Seems like a familiar script, doesn't it? We're very interested to see what Justin has in the end. Gets the 1 off the generator. Not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Now, yeah, one of Jesse's generators were prized. But otherwise, nothing too crazy. We get that switch card pretty quick. And that generator off the bottom. Yeah, the 2 metal are particularly concerning for Justin. You're okay having a couple of fighting energies prized. But you really don't want your metals to be prized. And you'd really prefer to not have so many energies prized total, but he does run the 4 because he's got the Mega Mawile, so he's still got enough for his Goldengos at least. No, not the lullaby, not the Pokey Flute music. It's gonna put me right to sleep. I'm like a big old Snorlax here. No, wait, this is supposed to wake up the Snorlax. Now, so I gotta think like Snorlax. Got it. I'll grab a couple of those string cheese out of the fridge once again. He's got a Nest Ball and an Artisan, so it's not a dead hand. At least I thought I saw Artisan. There's no way this is pass, right? He's turn 2. He's got to play the supporter. I'm like, he was starting to motion like he was passing. I'm like, no way. That ain't right. You're going to get your secret box so you can get your Artisan and get everything going here. I find it interesting that he didn't grab Air Balloon. I guess if you leave up the Genesect this turn, he would have to get, Jesse would have to get the Miraidon powered up to knock that out. Which is not impossible, but would be a little tough. Now, discarding another Metal Energy when he's already got 2 prized. That's it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him. So yeah, it's got the boss. That's where he gets, that makes sense. That's where he gets the Air Balloon. Artisan goes on the field. Lunatone. Nest Ball for Soul, or Fighting Gong for Soul Rock. Goes ahead and gets that Lunar Cycle. Scores one of his gimme ghouls off that, which is not bad. Another nest ball. He's got those cool old school Safari Zone nest balls. Those are awesome. I have one of those with a league challenge with I think it might be a League Cup stamp. Ideally, you'd love to get at least one more Gimme Ghoul down on the field here, because otherwise you're... I mean, he's got it in hand. Gonna do another Gong. Presumably for a fighting energy. Air balloon to retreat the Genesect. And yeah, I like punching the Mew for 70 or 80 here. Nope, just the 70. Ah, it's Bravery Charm, not I thought that was Vitality Band for a second there. My bad. Old eyes. At the very least, that takes Soul Rock out of amp range, which is nice. He could still hit it with the arm press for knockout. But if you're Jesse, you want to take the first two prizes here. So you want to either be able to gust to amp one of the Gimme Ghouls, or you want to be able to build up the Miraidon for a Photon Blaster attack onto the Genesect. Either of those would be fine. You don't really love the idea of giving up the first two prizes like he did the last game, because that's what led to his defeat. He does have the Prime Catcher. Prime Catcher bringing up the Magnemite. He's gonna go ahead and commit to benching the Ursaluna before he hits the research, and he's hoping for Magneton here. And whiffs the Magneton, but he does have two generators, which is pretty nuts. The Magneton, I believe, will only have one retreat, so gets one off of that. He's got the second one still. He needs one more to be able to hit the amp. No Latias here, so he would have to commit the energy to the Magneton to retreat it. So it still needs that one off of the follow-up generator. Doesn't see it in the first three. Glass card. Wow. There it is. That's what he wanted.
Taking two prize cards and one on this turn.
And that can be everything. You know the prize map is so
Whoa.
stage in this matchup in particular. If you go down just one prize card in that,
I think my soundtrack ended, and so it went straight to TCG Day 2. That's funny. Oops. That's okay. So we'll go over to the Diamond and Pearl soundtrack here real quick. That is funny, though. So yeah, he gets the amp, gets the first two prize knockout. Jesse Parker going up 2-0. Gong for the energy. He's got the double Goldengo, so shouldn't be too hard for Justin to put in a return knockout here. And with all the energies on that Iron Hands, I don't really know where that's going to leave Jesse Parker. He still has the Magneton to be able to play here. It's still going to be a bit tough getting the energies back. I'll go ahead and bring out the Dango. It's that Mega Mawile. It's gonna Arven first. Presumably Vessel plus Balloon. Yeah, there you go. I'm gonna go straight into the Vessel, getting rid of the Mega Mawile. Not really super useful at this point in the game. Especially when you got two Metal Prized. And you're a little bit behind on the attaching game. Does get the attachment there. Superior, one of those string cheese away. He's got the other energies in hand. And there goes all those energies to the discard pile. Primed for a Magneton to pull them out. But nice little 2-prize KO in return there. Jesse could look for the Zekrom play that he did last round. If he is able to get the Magneton to build up the Zekrom, that would be the 280 for knockout. Zekrom is in the discard. We just saw him flash that there. And again, I love this new streaming tool where they have it, where they can split it up. That's a lot of tracking that they have to do. Mad respect. He gets the 2 energies, at least, to build up the Miraidon. So yeah, if he's got Boss in hand, he could go for the knockout on the Genesect to stay in the lead. And then try to set up that Magneton play on the last turn for the Zekrom. You need to get Night Stretcher or Super Rod to get that Zekrom back into play. Doesn't look like he's got a boss. I think did he already research? He might have already researched. No, supporter and energy are still up for him. I'm gonna use Miraidon's ability to just kind of look through and see what he's got. There's a Stunky in the chat, if anybody wants to try to catch that. I missed the Skiploom and Swablu. I've been so engrossed in the pokey action. But he'll fail the tandem unit. Just the energy to Magnemite. Interesting. And then he'll go ahead and play the research to pitch the hand. Alright, well there's something. He at least gets the Magneton. But I think that's really gonna help him here. That Night Stretcher and the prizes, yeah, that's biting him. Looks like he's just going to put out the 1 prizer to try to stall here. So pretty much means if Justin's got Boss, And this is over. Gonna charge up the Ursaluna. So, boss, right on the bottom. Shuffle it up. Got the Stunky. Let's go. Boom. And there's the boss. Interesting that he took the Mew. It's the easiest knockout for him, damage-wise. I like the air balloon attachment, just in case it gets bossed. Playing the Premium Power Pro just to thin. That is good. I like it. Oh, unless it's he. No, I was about to say, he's got to do 110, so with a Bravery Charm on there, even if he had a Vitality Band. Next card, Super Rod. That hurts. Because, yeah, then he could have made that Zekrom play. I mean, he still can make the Zekrom play, but it's a little bit too late. But yeah, you can see Jesse's frustration there, and I cannot blame him for that. That's... I'm always one card away. Yeah. Aren't we all? Always. Because then the next turn he needs the Gust Ursaluna. Or actually the Gust Miraidon, either one, to get the Genesect. So, yeah. He had what he needed. He had it lined up. He just didn't draw it. It was not in time. And Jesse is a man that's out of time. Yeah, so if he's got the boss... I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Justin's definitely got the cards. I think Jesse knows that. He's gonna play it out, but... No quitting this man. That'll put Justin to 1 prize. So yeah, I mean, if Jesse had something along the lines of like an Iono for hand disruption, it would at least give him a chance here, but... Yeah, Arvin for the Superior, and that is the G's. Justin Templar winning. All smiles. Why wouldn't he be? Why shouldn't he be? The only thing that could stop Justin was a brick, and he only bricked in 1 of those 3 games. Goldengo can only get in its own way, you know? Alright, baby, I think it's time for us to get up. What do you think? While they get set up for top cut, asymmetrical, or otherwise. We can get up and get ready for our tournament today. Yeah, the return KO on the hands, yeah, definitely sealed it. I mean, Jesse was still in the driver's seat at that point, but he whiffed on he whiffed on being able to set the Zekrom for the return knockout. So that put him 1 turn behind. So, like, even after the Iron Hands was knocked out there in game 2, Jesse still had a shot at it, but him missing that next knockout was the problem. Yeah, he just... I mean, yeah, that was a really cool moment when he got to the 5. But even here, you know, he's got the Magnemite down, so if he can get the Magneton and he can get the knockout, then that's fine. But you see, the Super Rod top deck there was heartbreaking for him because that was the card he needed. He needed that to get the Zekrom out to be able to tandem unit it, and he didn't have it, so he missed it by that 1 card. So close. Almost, though. He almost got there. And yeah, you love seeing somebody just playing the archetype they love. We've seen Jesse Parker with Miraidon for so long. That is his deck. So you love to see him sticking with it. And even if it did come up just a little bit short today, you know, you love to see him in the mix at the top there. And he'll still be walking away with lots of points and maybe even some money. I'll have to check out tomorrow, see what place he came in. I think he'll fall short of a top cut, but he should be right up there in the mix for potential top 32 and some money. Well, like I said, I'm going to be up and around, moving a little bit here, because I need to put my deck together for today's tournament still. So while these guys are hanging out and we're waiting to hear from Justin Kempler, I'm going to go ahead and put them on.
Just as much, if not a little bit more, to him there. But for Jesse, commiserations there. It's unfortunate that it didn't work out for you, but to take whatever tier level this deck is and to boost it up just that much, you know that was all you.
He put it on the
Yeah.
a little bit,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
And
So.
he's got a lot of people that are excited to see what the deck list was. They want to see if they can give it a shot and maybe draw some of those hands like we saw in the opening game.
I do love deck lists like this. I mean, it is super clean, I mean, the 4 research, 4 Carmine, 4 bosses orders, the prime catcher. He knows what he's trying to do every single game. Get through the deck, get some energy in play. I love those decks where it's like you're going to set up your board state and make your opponent have the answer.
Yeah, you just don't care about what your opponent does on the other side. True solitaire, just burn through, but then you also have different attackers that match your opponent. So if they do have this, you at least have a little bit of an answer. You don't care what's going on in their hands. And you really hope they don't care what's going on in yours, because all of your answers are on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool list for sure. I feel like we'll see a few people, you know, we'll see a few names added to the Limitless page for this one at EUIC. People are probably going to want to pick this one up and roll with it because it is definitely a lot of fun. So yeah, congrats to Jesse. He should hold his head high with this finish, with this run, even though it has been cut short. And I think another big point about like why this deck is pretty cool in this format is this is a choose second format, right? Everyone is choosing to go second to get more set up, and this is a deck that loves going first and takes advantage of that.
Yeah, if you're feeling unlucky and generators aren't hitting, well, at least your opponent's gonna roll and choose to go second. So you have that first game where you can surprise them and get that big setup, and we've seen that with Jesse. If he doesn't,
Yeah, we
have
haven't seen Miraidon really in the format for a while, so it's cool to see him bring it this far.
Energies don't always have to
for
go
sure.
perfectly for you to still give us a pretty great game.
And a great game we did indeed see, but it does end with Justin coming out on top. We know at least one Golden Go player is going to be making it into Top Cut, and you know, let's get a little refresh here and see if we can get an update on any other players making it in. It does look like Henry Chow has gotten a win, and he will move on to Top Cut. Giovanni Sasso from Brazil traveling up. He is going to be making it into Top Cut. Just a couple of the names here. Of course, we mentioned Karis Jones and Brent Tonneson IDing into Cut. Those are 2 of the great players we love to keep our eye on.
I mean, we see here with Luis and Jordan, we have multiple Frostlass and Marnie's Grimmsnarl players that will be in our asymmetric cut.
That wasn't supposed to happen.
Well, anyone who watched round 9 yesterday got a little taste of what can happen with that. So maybe there's a little more coming your way.
Well, Kyle, I am excited to hear from our newest member of the Toronto Regional Championships Top Cut. Justin Templer is standing by. Let's hear how he's feeling after that win.
Thank you, Chip Kyle. I am here with our round of 14 winner, Justin Templer. First of all, congratulations. How are you feeling?
Really good. Excited to make ASIM, first ASIM at a regional and masters. Hoping to hit Dragavolt.
Yeah, sounds good. You are basically the only Golden Go, it seems like, to make ASIM, and it's definitely been the most played deck of the tournament.
For sure.
And you're normally playing Dragavolt, got
Yeah.
top 8 in LAIC just a couple months ago with the deck. What made you switch to Golden Go?
So Henry made this Guardian deck and they posted it in his Discord server, so I assumed a lot of people were going to be playing it. And Dragapult doesn't do too well into that because of the Evo. It could just set up pretty easily. So I decided to play Dango because I think the matchups are a lot better. I think I'm fine versus Henry's deck, maybe slightly favored or 50-50. And it's also just like a pretty consistent deck.
Yeah, that sounds good. And now going into round 14, you're needing a win to make ASIM, sitting at 31 match points, and you're paired up against Jesse Parker, former top 4 Worlds competitor with Miraidon. Seems to be his deck. Now, going into the Miraidon matchup, is that something that you've tested a lot?
No, definitely not. I was talking to my friends about it. We were thinking like if we just like promote like a Soul Rock or Lunatone with a Bravery Charm, it's gonna make it like really hard for them to like take the first 2, and then from there I could like try and take the prize lead and probably win the game.
Yeah, we saw that, game 3?
Yeah.
You were able to accomplish that. Now, game 1 did not really go well in your favor, just having a bunch of energies in play, not really able to get any Pokemon, but it does seem like games 2 and 3, you were just able to keep your prize mapping and take your 2/2/2s, and it does seem like that's kind of the matchup in general, is both of y'all are trying to fight these 2 prize knockouts back and forth.
Yeah, once someone takes the first 2, like in this matchup, it's really hard to like make a comeback.
Yeah, and game 3, Jesse ended up discarding that Zekrom and opted to bench that Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. I think if he did it reversed, had more of a chance and ended up whiffing the knockout on that one turn. Is that where you were kind of like, okay, I think I got this locked up. I'm going to be able to make it into top cut?
Yeah, like I was just like drawing my whole deck at that point. Like even if he benched the Zekrom, I think I could maybe like go Turo the Genesect, knock out the Zekrom. He was down 4 E-Gen, so I could definitely still win, but yeah, I was feeling really good after that.
And then lastly, any shout outs you want to give the people at home watching, maybe people out in the crowd?
Yeah, shout out my parents for letting me go. I want to shout out Caleb for building this broken Dango list, and Andrew for testing it with us.
All right, that's perfect. Again, congratulations. Making it into ASIM Top Cut, over 2,200 Masters is definitely an accomplishment in itself. Hopefully we'll see you continue to ride Golden Go all the way to the finals.
Hopefully.
And that does it for us. We're going to go ahead and take it to the Analyst Lounge with Pablo.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Great to hear from Justin. Obviously very talented first-year Master, already dominating in the Masters division. Very cool to see. And I think
All
this
right.
matchup,
Very nice.
they were just as
Very
confident about
gracious.
that crucial KO that
Love to hear a young player kind of enthusiastic about playing, but also, you know, very humble still. Good shout outs to his buddy for a good deck build. But I think with that, I am actually going to close out the stream for the day so I can get ready for my tournament. I won't really be able to focus on doing further coverage while I'm also deck building and everything. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. We'll do this again probably next weekend for Merida Regionals because this was fun. But for now, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.